And we are back with another episode of Rebookin WCW 92 with Three Ropes Wrestling. And we have a big show tonight. It's time for the weekly television show that we actually do need to care about as far as storylines are concerned. World Championship Wrestling is the name of the show that shows up in the TV guide, and we really need to change that. And Saturday evening, somewhere in Georgia, is the time and the place. Now, going into tonight's show, WCW will present more questions than they do have answers for. For instance, what will WCW officials, and namely new WCW owner Jim Ross, do about Vader's emergence into the title scene? We're going to be interested to see if Vader gets a title shot and if Sting agrees. Elsewhere, we have Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes tag team heating up, and we have word around the campfire that the news challengers will be the Steiners. We'll see if WCW will address those rumors tonight or if we will all be left wondering another week. All of this and more on tonight's show. And finally, first, quickly, hit the like and subscribe button for more of these videos and the namesake promotion, Three Ropes Wrestling, where we're trying to build a small independent promotion from the ground up over there. So be sure to also check that one out. All right, done with the spiel. Now, time for the video. Okay, welcome in to the office, Saturday night, January 25th, 1992. And just an overlook of our promotion, 26 active workers and 46 at the moment. We have got 20 more workers than we need. We should probably send some to development, and we will do that here in the next couple episodes. I think we'll have a full business episode one day where we can try to get all of this cleared out. Barry Windham, Harley Race, Richard Morton, everybody has problems. So maybe that will be in the next one before we have another two shows, B shows, things like that. And we'll try to address all of this. Maybe it'll be a business episode if I remember to do it. If not, then we will just do it in the episodes, but not this episode, because tonight is World Championship Wrestling, and we are 35 days away from WCW Super Brawl 2. We don't really have any matches announced yet for Super Brawl. However, obvious logic says that Vader and Sting have a chance to be competing. The rumor in the intro that I said was that the Steiner brothers are perhaps the newest challengers for Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat, which will be great. We unified the titles the last time, so we have got just one WCW tag team title now, and we did retire the WCW lightweight championship that Jushin Thunder Liger held on to. It just wasn't, I don't like weight specific titles. I like it so that anybody can get it at any time. I do understand that maybe we could not call it the lightweight, but have all of the flashier people, the high flyers, that kind of thing in one division, and we can assign a championship for that. That's fine, but I don't know. I really don't like all of that weight limit stuff. It just limits booking, to be completely honest with you, and I don't really enjoy it. So we did retire that title. Jushin was fine with it. He said he just needs the money. He doesn't care. Now, we are going to get into World Championship Wrestling tonight, and I'm hoping that there's not a ton of chaos, but I say that every time, and then there's a ton of chaos. So let's hope that there's not. We are going to give some people the night off. Rick Rude is going to get a night off, so we can give him the night off. And I don't know who else we're going to use, so I don't really want to give anybody else the night off. However, we can give Gordon Soley the night off. We won't be using him, that's for sure. Arachnomad can get the night off. Mags can get the night off. So there's a couple of people that we're able to just see and be like, okay, we're not going to use Eleganti tonight, so we can give him the night off. I don't know if we're going to use any jobbers tonight, but they are on paper appearance, so I don't think that we have to travel them in as far as expenses are concerned. Correct me if I'm wrong there. That would be nice to know. Lance Russell, we won't be giving him any work tonight either. So just a couple people that I know for sure. Junkyard Dog, we're not going to need. Just a couple of people that we just don't need. So that will be fine. Now, tonight's venue, I said somewhere in the southeast, somewhere in Georgia. That is true. Generic venue for now. The booking team consists of Jim Ross, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, and Jody Hamilton. I don't know how much Jody Hamilton actually adds to this, and Dusty Rhodes might be somebody that we might want to put here instead of Jody Hamilton. I know that there's two other spots, or one other spot, I can't remember, but it all... a team that works together is a lot better than a lot of people in the same room trying to bash ideas together. So I want to keep it small. However, we are losing points because we don't have that. I know that Dusty Rhodes should probably be added here, but we don't have him right now. We could add him in that business episode that I was talking about. We can spend something and get a creative finish. Why not? A bit of a gamble. I really don't like the bit of gambles. I think that that's a normal wrestling match is a bit of a gamble, so I always just take them out. I don't want them. And now we only have 29 points, so we really didn't get anything from that, but that's quite okay. Now this is where I get nervous. Locker room incidences. Backstage gossip is that Liger and Rhodes had to be separated after a heated argument. That is not good. We'll see there. Steamboat and Arn Anderson have been hanging out together. I thought when I seen these two names, I'm like, they're not fighting. No, they're not. They're hanging out together. That's all good. Steve Austin came to you backstage with an angle idea. Good. We'll check that out. And George South ran training with Johnny B. Bad and Van Hammer. We gave El Gigante the night off, so he was not at training. That's fine. Richard Morton failed to show up for a scheduled meeting with a road agent. That is not fine. Dusty Rhodes chose to give him a stern warning. He is the head of talent relations. And Rick Steiner was being a jerk backstage and first provoking and then physically attacking Scott Hall, leading to a fight that had to be broken up. Dusty Rhodes responded by fining Rick Steiner. That does not come at a good time for the Steiner brothers, as we are thinking of putting them in a match with for the titles at Super Brawl 2. That doesn't look good for the Steiners. But that is good that at least Rick Steiner was positive about it. Very happy with how Dusty Rhodes handled it. Paulie dangerously failed to show up and got a stern warning. My goodness. Negative impact on Paulie, of course. He thinks he's always right. Several people have remarked that Sting had been hanging out with Van Hammer. That is good news right there. Van Hammer can't work. He really can't. We're trying to get him to be able to work, but we are in the middle of all that. Hanging out with Sting is definitely not a bad thing for Van Hammer. My goodness, there's a lot of things happening tonight. Jushin Thunder Liger lifted the locker room when he organized and won a video game tournament. That is good, especially after losing the title. What class? All right, and then addressing the locker room. This always worries me, but I'm going to try it anyway. A team bonding, and we have nothing. No news is good news, honestly, at some points. I mean, I've been in some of these games where it's just all negative, so now we have some segments already booked. There you can see. I'm not trying to hide. Let me get into booking the rest of this show, and then we will I'll pick it back up, and we will be ready for this week's installment of World Championship Wrestling somewhere in Georgia. Okay, and welcome into World Championship Wrestling in front of 8,100 people here in Georgia. And Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone are going to give a quick intro to the show. Welcome in, everybody, that kind of thing. 5 minutes. It gets a 60 in the segment rating. Ross did a masterful job of improvising. Schiavone worked the crowd well, using the freedom to improvise. The commentary team is getting better because they're getting more reps together and they're getting more comfortable with one another as well. So the crowd at the end of this, hot and rising. We move on to our first match, and it is a doozy. Brian Pillman is going to defeat the great Muta. Muta is taking his last week in World Championship Wrestling, and we're using him to help get people that we want over. So he is losing. He is in a losing streak right now, but that's okay. Brian Pillman is who we're really invested in. Pillman gets a 64, the Great Muta a 66, leads to a pretty good match, 68 segment rating, and a white hot crowd at the end, which is exactly what we wanted from the intro. So a 68 is not bad. Moving on, Jimmy Garvin and Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Garvin really off his game in this one, and so was Bagwell, and it showed in the performance. Garvin a 48, Bagwell a 38, and an overall rating of 42. Not much really to say about this, just giving Jimmy Garvin some work, and we're trying to get Marcus Alexander Bagwell over, obviously. The Freebirds, I keep saying, are kind of a dated act right now in 1992 even, so we're trying to see what we're going to do, if we're going to put a fresh coat of paint on it, or if what we're going to do is just get rid of them. I'm not sure. I think they're too valuable to get rid of right now, name value wise, but I'm not really sure what to do with them. So I'm still looking for answers there. If you have any, leave some ideas in the comments. That would be excellent too. All right, moving on. Vader, in an average 5-minute interview, we saw Vader and Harley Race cut a promo on Sting, and we're basically being sold the whole angle here, right? I mean, Jim Ross asks them why they attacked Sting. Harley Race says it's Jim Ross's fault, actually, because when Ross took over, he said he wanted the hungriest, he said he wanted the baddest, and Harley Race said that he went out and found Vader, and Vader is all of that. Harley Race says he assures every Stinger fan that Vader is out for Sting's title, but also, more importantly, to put him out for a very long time. So we're playing the monster role for Vader. Harley Race is the manager, obviously, and Sting off screen getting a lesson or a promo towards him of, we're coming for you. That's basically the message. The message is the word I was looking for. Segment rating 61, and the crowd heat at the end is white hot, which is good. The crowd's been hot this whole time, which is good news for us. Now, this is just a commercial. It looks crazy up here. In a poor 5-minute video package, we just basically wanted to get Super Brawl out, and these are the real names that we have right now as far as who's going to be appearing at Super Brawl. So, this is just very hot. 49. We kind of missed the point here, and missed the mark here. The crowd's still very hot, but they're not white hot, so it kind of cooled the crowd a little bit. Moving on. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton defeat the WCW Patriots in 1031. We're just getting Anderson and Eaton some wins, and on television, we're also getting the WCW Patriots to just job a little bit more. That is really the reason that we even have that team. But yes, you see the segment rating of 55. Still a very hot crowd, which is very good. We're still maintaining the heat of the crowd, but for some reason I think it was going to go down here and hopefully elevate towards the end. We'll see. In a good match, Ron Simmons defeats Cactus Jack by disqualification. Now we're protecting Jack by giving him the disqualification. We're also adding to his character and saying he's a wild, crazy man, and brawls are to be expected. Disqualifications sometimes are to be expected. Ron Simmons is actually going to pick up the win. He hasn't been in a match since Clash of Champions. He won in Clash of the Champions as well. 67 for Jack, 63 for Simmons. We still maintain that very hot crowd heat at the end, and we get a 64 rating overall. Now, Jushin Liger and Steve Austin, they had a wrestling match. Steve Austin defeated Liger in 14:39 by submission with the Hollywood and Vine. The match was designed to tell a specific story. That helped us out because that is part of the booking rules of WCW. Austin makes defense number 13 for the WCW World TV title. We are really strapping it a rocket to Austin's back right now and trying to get him up a little bit more. We'll see what happens, but a win against Liger is always good, and a segment rating of 76 is also very good. This was our main event for the night. After the match, though, Steve Austin attacks Jushin Liger. Who comes out but Brian Pillman to make the save? This will start the storyline between Austin and Pillman. This is their first interaction in terms of in World Championship Wrestling. Hell, I think in pro wrestling, this is their first interaction, their first dust up, their first meeting. So these two are just starting this. Steve Austin and Paul Heyman are a good pairing. They play off one another well. The commentary quality lifted the segment. Segment rating gets a 66. The crowd continues to be very hot. And now we get the final results. And the show increased our popularity in 34 regions, lost us in 3. And then you see that we have limited number of viewers. We really can't do anything about that until we renegotiate our television deal at the end of the year, I believe. So if there is a way around that, let me know, but I do not think that. The fans were also disappointed that the storylines furthered during the show. None really had dramatic stakes. We're just starting it, okay? We have to keep this kind of long in the tooth because we got Super Brawl in 30-something days, so we are going to get there. Do not worry. Financial report an overall profit of $227,000, which is always good, leaving us with a post-show finance of $16.8 million, which is always good. And I'm thinking about putting a lot of that into development or television. I'm not sure, but we are gaining here in Mexico, we are gaining in England, we are gaining in Europe and in Australia, in Japan we are gaining as well. So I'm really happy with that. The Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South, and Southeast, they're going to come down to where we are. They're a little inflated right now, and that's really kind of how I look at it. So everything else is gaining. That is what we need. That is the thing we need to do. And we need to look at India, because India is a huge market, and we are not taking advantage of it right now. But we need to look at television deals there in India. Again, maybe that's in our business episode. But that is it for this episode, World Championship Wrestling. And thank you guys very much. It's great to be back. I am ready to continue doing these videos, both this and the flagship, the Three Ropes Wrestling. Hopefully putting that out every Sunday, so check that out as well. And until the next time, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.